Hello and welcome to Wolt Tech Talks podcast. My name is Jerry and I am your host today. This time we have something completely different. We will be talking about our engineering internships and what would be the better way than having 3 actual interns from this year. So this is being recorded at the end of 2023. So we have Riikka, Hanna, and Iwona here. Welcome to the show. And all of them are nowadays full-time Woltians, so they started during the spring 2023, but now are working for Wolt full-time. In this episode, we will be talking about their internship experience, share tips for the potential applicants of our upcoming internships, and there will be other interesting stories as well. But before we start the discussion, I'll quickly walk you through the essentials of our internship program. So it's happening yearly. The application period is usually at the very beginning of the year. There's a pre-assignment, a little coding task to do. You can check the Wolt app, GitHub organization, all those tasks from previous years are public, and I'll include the links in the show notes as well. We review all the pre-assignment solutions and then decide which ones are the best ones and invite those candidates to the interview. And after interviewing, we decide who get to go further and meet their potential team lead, and finally get an offer for the internship. We pay very fairly for the interns, I would say, and the salary is communicated upfront, so you know exactly what you would be getting already before applying. In 2023, we hired 12 engineering interns, and that number will be likely higher in the upcoming years. The interns typically start during April or May, and the internship contract is usually something between 4 and 6 months. Interns work as part of our product teams, like regular team members, and while recording this in late 2023, we have more than 60 of these teams, and that number is also growing. Historically, the majority of our interns have continued as full-time Woltians, and actually we have 3 examples here with me as guests today, like I mentioned before. And I think from the interns of 2023, actually all the 12 continued as full-timers. All right, that's about the process. Let's welcome our guests. So let's start with short introductions. Would you, Riikka, go as first one and mention which team are you working in, where are you located, and what's the main technology you're using at Wolt?
Yeah, sure. So hi, my name is Riikka, and I'm a software engineer in the consumer search team, and I'm located in Helsinki, and I'm doing myself full stack, meaning that I do TypeScript in the front end and then Python in the back end currently.
Great, thanks, and welcome to the show. Would Hanna want to go for next?
Sure, I can go next. Hi everyone, my name is Hanna. I'm 27 years old. I am based in Berlin, and I work as a software engineer in the marketing tech team. We basically work with the customer relationship management team and also the marketing team, and provide those people there with backend services and data services. And for our stack, we use Python and Go.
Thanks, and welcome to the show. Iwona, would you go next?
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Iwona, and I work in supply and demand team. I'm a backend developer and I work with Python, and I'm also located in the Berlin office.
Great, welcome everyone. And as you heard, we have peeps from Berlin, and then Riikka and myself are located in Helsinki. And outside of those, we have smaller tech hubs in Tokyo and in Stockholm. If you're listening this in the future, there might be other locations as well. And for the technologies, Python was mentioned, some front end was mentioned. In the back end, we tend to hire interns for Kotlin and Scala as well. The front ends are React at Wolt, at least while recording this. And then on the mobile side, we sometimes have openings for the native technologies, so Swift for iOS and Kotlin for Android. And nowadays also some Flutter, so might be some Flutter intern openings. And then we have data science openings as well. All right, let's move on to your internship experience. So how has it been? You started like less than a year ago as an intern. How were the first months? How did you get up to speed? What kind of support did you get and the like? Hanna, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure, I can start. So, yeah, for me, it was my first job in engineering ever. So, super exciting, of course. What really helped me getting up to speed was, I guess, the buddy that I had from like the first day that I started working at Wolt. For me, it was Eleanor. She's also in the marketing tech team, and she kind of like helped me set everything up, teach me the ropes, show me how things are going and rolling and Wolt. And yeah, I think like having someone that you can get back to and, you know, ask questions whenever, wherever, I think that's something that really helped me, like, you know, keep the excitement down and not get too nervous about things. So that was really great.
Yeah, I do agree with Hannah, and you do get a lot of resources at Wolt, like the documentation is excellent. It's easy to follow and get started with that. And we do also got some access to some teaching education platforms where we can learn more, for example, about the languages we are using and basically everything you need. So that was very helpful.
I mean, maybe I'll add here. We here also in Berlin, we have like a library where you can find some interesting books. So if you would like to learn a bit more about different topics, you can like find something interesting there as well.
How about the actual coding? How did you get started? Was there something like pair programming involved or something similar?
So like for me, I didn't have like direct pair programming. I mostly just, you know, did my work, asked questions like during like while I was working, and then also got some code reviews after. And I think like those discussions like after really helped me getting up to speed also with my coding.
Yeah, I had some great buddies with me helping with everything. So we basically started with one very defined task, and it was really easy to get started with the coding. And then we started to elaborate for more complex things. So my experience was great on that.
My first PR, I think it had a lot of comments, because it was like challenging in a way, but I got a lot of support from my team, from my manager. So like it took some time, but I managed. So I was super proud. I was like really happy once the first one was done. That's for sure.
Yeah, I can also echo that code reviews are one of the best ways to learn and share knowledge. I remember my very first pull request when I joined some other company as a summer intern. My first pull request had like 50 comments to start with, but I was able to lower the number towards the end of the summer, so clearly some progress happened. How about like, could you share a bit what kind of projects you worked on during your internship?
Well, for myself, I started a completely new project with another intern. We did this search debug tool, and we basically did everything from scratch. We did the project management, we defined what we're gonna do, and then we did the product design together. We got some help from product designers as well, and then we did the development phase. That was quite exciting, and the tool itself has been quite useful for our team, so it was very fun to do something that was actually impactful. So it was well used time during my internship.
I also had a project which was feature. It's a part of our long-term supply planning tool, but it was a separate feature that I could build from the scratch, which I think was great because I could actually take as much time as I needed. And it was had like a backend part where I would like calculate some error metrics using scikit-learn and some pandas, I think, but also had the front end part which was done with Dash, which was also great because you could actually visually see what was changing, and I did really enjoy working on that project. So that was like the first 3 months, and then after that I was working on picking up just the tickets from the backlog that we had, and they were like backend tasks, like related to either creating some new features or like changing endpoints. So like a typical backend work.
I kind of started out with like smaller tickets, which were mostly some rather simple endpoints, just in order to get myself familiar with like all the repos that we have and the work that we do. And then I actually had a similar project like Iwona did, so that was also kind of like a front end, back end situation. It was kind of like a marketing analytics tool for a marketing team, which I'm still working on with one of our data scientists in the team. So yeah. That was also kind of nice to get the help and to work together on that, and also have this kind of like front end and back end at the same time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think for Hannah and Iwona, was it also for Riikka that you have kind of filled both sides, both front end and a back end? I think that's a luxury if you have been able to build like a full feature from scratch. Usually we tend to have people specializing either on the back end or the front end. Maybe in these cases it has been such a separate feature that it has been kind of able to be produced by a single person, but we actually don't have that many full stackers in the company, at least to my knowledge.
Yes, and I didn't indeed think that it's great when you do full stack, you can take the entire ownership of features. And I actually learned front-end development during the internship, so I had only a little experience on front-end development, which has been a great thing, and it has been exciting way to learn new things as well.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing the experience related to the projects. And if I understood correctly, some of you are continuing with the same projects now that you are full-timers as well. So those were not ditched after your internship.
Definitely not.
Yes. So the life cycle is longer than just an internship. How has the Wolt been as a working environment? So all of you have been kind of within travel distance to our main tech hubs, so HQ in Helsinki, and then we have a big office in Berlin. So how have you felt the Wolt vibes within the offices?
I come to the office quite often. So I work from here, here in Berlin, and it is like in general, like it's gives you like a lot of flexibility. So at Wolt, a lot of people, are here in the office, but there are also people who work from home, and it's fine both ways. And it's also um, it's like a flat hierarchy, so it's fine to talk to someone or ask for help someone who's above you. So you can have a coffee chat with, I don't know, like a staff engineer, and it's like really acceptable, and everyone is open to that. It's also like people are willing to help. So like if you have an issue and like you don't know how to solve something, I don't know, let's say it's something with infrastructure that you've never worked before, then like you just like post on the Slack channel that we have, and there's always someone there who's gonna like jump in and help you to set up the things that you have to. Which I think it's great.
I think also like adding to what Iwona just mentioned, I feel like you can tell that everyone is pulling towards the same goal and they're like working on the same things. Like it's just this spirit that we have at Wolt, which is very special. And also as an intern, I never really felt like just the intern. Like I had some experiences in the past when I started doing my first internship somewhere else when I was younger. And there it was like quite obvious that you're the intern, but here I feel like you're part of the team from day one, and that's very special.
Yes, and I indeed love the flexibility at Wolt, and I love that I can work wherever I want, basically, and I've taken even some work days abroad. And it just creates a good work-life balance, in my opinion. And yeah, there's not a lot of hierarchy, so you can put a message to whoever you basically want, and you will get always a nice and welcoming answer.
Thanks for sharing. Maybe you touched some parts of the answer for the next question I'm going to ask, but let's try. So what has been the best part of your internship at Wolt?
So I think like for one part, it's the learning experience as a whole. Like you have so many resources and so many people who are willing and eager to help you and to help you grow, which I think is really cool. And that kind of like also touches like on the people that we have. I met so many cool people in the office or just working from home during coffee chats, or also during product week. We all met up during September for product week, which is like held once a year, and there we also like meet the other people from the team we usually wouldn't meet because they're, for example, based in Helsinki and you're based in Berlin. So that's a nice way to catch up and get together.
I agree with Hannah. I feel like for me, I learned so much. It's like all the projects that I had the chance to work on, I feel like they really helped me, and I feel, when I joined, I was like, oh, I have no idea what's happening, and I don't know how to write a single line of code sometimes. But like after the internship, you feel like really more confident, and you still like doubt yourself sometimes, but you feel way more confident than on the beginning. And also people that work here are really talented, so you can learn a lot.
Yeah, I think besides learning a lot of new things, I think it has been great that there started 12 interns at the same time, and we have had so much fun together and getting to know each other, and we have had coffee chats and some organized events for us as well. And we have also had some a few people like Lena and Sanda getting us together as well. So we have gotten a lot of support and I would say love. So I have not felt alone in this entire experiment at all because we have had each other.
Yeah, I can relate to doubting yourself, although I have some years on my belt, I guess it never goes away and learning never ends. Okay, now we have discussed quite a lot about upsides, and there are obviously some challenges or difficulties in everyone's work. So could you share some of the challenges or drawbacks that you have faced while you were an intern?
So I think it's because it's a lot of information, especially on the beginning, so the first few weeks, it might feel a bit overwhelming, and it just takes some time to kind of like know what's important and what can wait for later. And the other thing was we have here at Wolt we have a remote distributed settings. So some teams, some people in the team will be here in Berlin, and some will be in Helsinki, and some might be in the other location that we have. And on one hand, it's great because it gives you all the flexibility. But then on the other hand, sometimes it's difficult to connect with people because you see them only remotely, so only on the screen. So you don't have those, like possibility to see someone in the kitchen in the office and have like a coffee together and just talk about some random stuff. So that might be sometimes challenging.
Yeah, indeed. And for me personally, I think it was very difficult to understand the concepts in my team. So I'm in the search team, and it's very initiating. And although I did a bachelor's degree in computer science, we didn't have anything related to search. So a lot of learning, and as mentioned, I got to do a search course, which helped me a lot to understand the concepts. But that was and still is very difficult for me.
For me personally, I think it was kind of like applying the little knowledge that I had gained during the boot camp that I did before. We're kind of like taking this knowledge and applying it to a bigger scale. Because for my bootcamp, it was very basic knowledge about Python and about SQL, but not like about software architecture, repos, GitHub, all the stuff that kind of like belongs to software programming. That's kind of like this whole big concept I didn't like really learn during that time. And I learned it here during the internship, so that's kind of very difficult at times to get behind.
I guess that's a good bridge to talk a bit about your background. So what kind of background do you have? How did you learn programming, and how did you decide to become a software engineer in the first place?
Yeah, so for me, I did actually a bachelor's degree in economics and business administration first. But that subject didn't really interest me that much. And I ended up doing a personality test, which told me that I would be great in software engineering industry. And then I actually ended up watching a YouTube video. I put on a search that how to code, and I did my first hello world to the web. Then eventually I ended up doing a bachelor's degree in computer science. And actually, meanwhile, I worked at Wolt, first in the support, and then I also worked in the Wolt market. And that's made me really want to continue to end up in this internship program. And here I am doing great.
So yeah, I actually have an English degree, and I worked as a copywriter in content marketing for about 3.5 years, before I even got into programming. For me, it was that I was kind of like a bit underwhelmed with copywriting in general. And I always had this like interest in programming, but I wasn't really sure if I could do it or not. And then Last year during the summer, I quit my old job and I did a boot camp for Python and SQL, and yeah, then I saw the that we could apply for Wolt, and then I did, and now I'm here.
So I have plus 6 years experience working in tech recruitment, which is like very different than being a software developer. At some point, I've came across this small NGO here in Berlin that was helping women with career change, and I did with them like a small course on programming, which was, I think, like a very basic HTML. It's just like building a website. And I really enjoyed it. I really like it's like a really good balance between like the right brain and left brain. So like it's a lot of like logic thinking, problem solving, but also like you do need to be creative as well. So then I kind of decide that that's something what I want to do. I did Tech Academy that was run by one of the companies here in Berlin. And then I applied for the internship at Wolt.
So coincidentally, we have 3 career changers, if I understood correctly. I guess the other common internship backgrounds we have are fresh from the uni or some other type of school, and then plenty of career changers as well. And to be honest, the background doesn't matter. That's why we have the pre-assignment. We care about the code first and foremost, and only after that look for the other things. Would be super interesting to hear when you studied coding or learned stuff outside of professional life, and then you took your first job at Wolt as a software engineer. What was the most surprising thing that you couldn't imagine while you learned programming on your own, or in your studies, or in your bootcamp, or whatnot?
Well, I think I didn't realize that software developers spend so much time on GitHub. So when I was just learning, I had like, you know, my small repo, and I was like pushing some changes. But I thought that if I know, you know, git add, git commit, and git push, that's basically I'm set and I'm gonna be like excellent. And then when you join as a software developer and you work with other people in the team and people are making changes, there is a bit more to that. And then there is also the part where you review PRs, and like I kind of like didn't expect that. I thought it's just like, you know, it's somewhere there, but it's not that important, but it is a big part of the job.
I think also adding to what Iwona just said, it's much more than just writing code. So, you know, you read a lot of documentation, and you have to do some research, and especially if you work with someone else, you kind of have to align with them who's working on what, and it's kind of like a lot of organization that's also going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I agree. And to be honest, software engineering is much like a team sport. It's quite rarely that you do things alone. You will always every day work with other people.
I could also share that the biggest surprise for me when I started my professional career was definitely the fact that how important testing is. I think they didn't thought that as much as they should during my studies. But yeah, very interesting to hear your surprises that you faced, and I think many of us can relate to those. Now that you're full-time Woltians, are there some aspects that you're really looking forward to in the upcoming months or years?
So for me, it's definitely learning in general, like learning new stuff, and but also like I'm going to take on a whole new project by myself. I'm going to start working on that from scratch, basically. So that's also going to be a very cool learning experience that I'm really looking forward to.
I agree with what Hannah just said. I'm also really looking forward to the new challenges. I just recently started working on a new project, which is more into machine learning direction, which is challenging but also really exciting. So I'm looking forward to work on that.
So for me, at the moment, we are having very interesting projects already in my team, but maybe in a few years, I'm looking forward to maybe switch a team, learn a new language or a new concepts, which will be very helpful in terms of my career development.
Yes, indeed, there are many opportunities within Wolt as we have so many technologies in use, so many different domains. And for example, I've been here for a little over 4 years, and I think this is my third or fourth role that I'm currently having. So plenty of learning opportunities and career progression opportunities. Thanks for sharing all the insights about your internships and how it's going during these days. And I think we could move on to giving some tips for the potential candidates that might be just now looking at our pre-assignment and thinking, should they spend the effort with that? So let's give some tips for them to like what to focus on while doing the pre-assignment. Let's have a short round, like 1 or 2 points each, and would Riikka go first?
Yeah, I think for me, when I was doing the pre-assignment, I went through all of the podcasts and all the blog posts that Wolt had and tried to like find information what is relevant and what is not, and also focus on not overdoing things, so concentrating on the important things and giving some extra stuff. So yeah, I think reading blog posts, I think we had a few interesting intern blog posts as well to read. And yeah, there's a lot of open source stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree with Riikka, and I think it's also like very important to take your time with the assignment, because that's like basically the most important step of the entire interview process or application process. And like I really took my time with it, and I looked up a lot of stuff, like very fundamental things, which also helped me a lot, like even now. So it's really, good to really take your time. There's no timer, just relax and take your time.
Just return it before the deadline, that's enough.
So what I could add is it's important to read the requirements carefully. That assignment was like really interesting. So like it is a really cool thing to work on. And the other thing would be to test the solution. When I was working on my assignment, I kind of thought, oh, like I tested it properly, and I was about to like submit it, but then I was like, oh, let me try one more like corner case, and I actually caught an error with just writing one more test for it. So I think it's just better to test it like properly.
Yeah, I want to really highlight on the testing. I think the testing is a very important part. And as what Jerry said earlier in this podcast, that it was a surprise to you that testing is also very important. So I would take a careful look on it on the assignment as well.
Great, thank you. Those were awesome tips for the potential applicants. And I could maybe add a couple more from the, let's say, reviewer, interviewer side. So I have participated in this internship, pre-assignment reviews and interviews in quite many years. And I would say it's very important that the instructions that you give to run the software that you built also work. Like when I follow those, I would expect the thing to work with those instructions. And also, I think it's important that you stick with the specification that we give you. Don't go beyond that. If you're doing the backend assignment, definitely don't include any sort of UI for that. It will be just noise for us reviewers. So stick with the spec, keep it simple, but keep it very polished. How about if the listeners are lucky enough to get a spot in the interview, what kind of tips would you give for them? And of course, these tips both for the pre-assignment and interview might be very well applicable also if you're applying somewhere else. So the technical interview at the Wolt engineering internships in practice means that we will discuss the pre-assignment solution that you have made. So be prepared to discuss the choices that you made and defend them during the interview. And there might be some lightweight in-interview tasks, but no need to worry about those. We'll do those together, so it will be a pleasant experience. But yeah, for the tips, what do you have? Iwona, would you like to go first?
Yeah. So I think it's okay to be nervous. Like I've been doing interviews for a very long time because I used to work in recruitment. So I'm kind of like used to. But now I was very stressed. I was like really stressed, and I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know what to expect. So it's okay to be stressed. And all of the interviewers that we have at Wolt are super friendly, and they are there to kind of like help as well. So maybe don't look at this as a assessment that someone's going to very harshly judge everything that you say, but more as like a chat with someone where you can actually like tell them how you came to this solution, that how you solved the assignment. And I think it's in the end it's just like a very nice conversation that you're going to have.
And yeah, I think also like adding to what Iwona said, I think it's also very important to be upfront and direct and also honest. For example, like in my interview, I had 1 or 2 situations where I just didn't know the answer. And then we kind of just discussed like how I would approach it and what I would do. And that's also like a very useful learning experience to some way, because it's totally okay to not know everything. Like you're not supposed to know everything. And figuring those things out together is also like very great.
Yeah, and don't be sad if you don't know or understand something. Just ask, and I think a great viewer will elaborate the question and show examples. And that actually happened in my interview, and I didn't understand the question at all. And then we dig deeper into it, and then I actually understood what we were talking about.
I think all the tips that you gave are actually applicable to all the potential interviews you or me or anyone else might have in the future, but very good tips for the intern applicants as well. And maybe worth mentioning that our 6 core values are attitude, we take ownership beyond the obvious, excellence, we do common things uncommonly well, ambition, we think big but we stay humble, heart, we do right by people, we treat others kindly, and so on and so forth, will to learn and will to teach. So those are definitely some aspects that we are looking for while doing the interview. All right, this was very interesting chat. I think we had very interesting topics to discuss. If you still want to learn more about our internships, we have plenty of blog posts from the previous years, and from this year, aka 2023, we'll include links in the show notes. And in case you decide to apply in our engineering internship, that's great. I think at least that Wolt is an awesome place to kickstart your career. So thanks for the guests. Thank you, Riikka, Hanna, and Iwona. And until the next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having
Yeah.
us. Bye.